Welcome back to Aaron's Tank. And today, I'm sure you noticed there's a little bit something different about the studio. Now, let me put this up. Let's go over what's different and what's changed. First off, behind me, I'm sure you noticed there's sound panels. Second of all, I'm sure you noticed the lighting's a little bit better than it has been. Sorry for the messy hair. Third, I'm sure you noticed there's a new microphone. Now, I don't know if you can hear me better or not, but this microphone is a condenser microphone that plugs directly into your computer. I've still got to get phantom power for it and some other things and adjust the audio a little bit, but for now it'll do, and it's better than the audio that comes straight from the laptop. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video for the full photo shoot video and all the pictures that Tyler took. Shout out to Tyler White for taking these photos. They look amazing. They're professionally done, and he did it for a really low cost. Um, so let's get into the review of some products, and then we'll get into the podcast. So first off, these sound panels right behind me, I paid. Let's look it up. What did I pay for them? I didn't pay too much for them. They weren't too much. They were reasonably priced, but they're cheap, and you can tell that they're cheap just by feeling them. Um, they were very thin, and they were hard to install. Let's see how much I paid for them. So I paid $20 for 12 of them, and they comes in several different packs. Comes in 12 or 24 pack, and you can get them red and charcoal, ice blue and charcoal, solid blue, burgundy and charcoal, red, burgundy, or just charcoal. So I got the red and black, and I got the 12 pack, as you can see behind me. Sorry that had the light had to adjust. Now, they weren't too hard to install. It was a pain, but it wasn't too hard. Had to move the bed and everything because, as you can see, my bed's right behind me, right here, right there. If you can see it, that's the head of my bed. Um, so wasn't too much of a pain to install. Well worth it. It takes the echo out of the room. Uh, Paid $20 for 12 of them, like I said. They were okay quality, so I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. They do what they're intended to do. The next thing I got is this lighting kit, and it's literally a mount. It has a C clamp that you clamp onto your desk, and it has an adjustable arm just like this microphone does. And it's just a standard desk clamp. It's rose gold and black. I can't really show you without blinding the camera, but it's not too bad quality. Pop an LED bulb in there. It takes standard LED bulbs, 5 watts, I believe, something around there. I'm not too sure. Um, it's by Power King Architect, and it cost around $16. It was $15.99, free shipping, just like the sound panels, free shipping. Um, so it was well worth the money to get better lighting in the studio. So the next thing I got, I'd rate that, by the way, 5 out of 5 stars. It was really simple to put together. It took me 2 minutes to put it together and clamp it on the desk. So the next thing I got is this neck strap. And the neck strap I was just using. It is a, I don't know if you can see that, Movo. It's backwards, but it's a Movo neoprene neck strap. You can use it for saxophones, horns. For some odd reason, I don't know why a horn would need a neck strap, but it says you can use it for horns. Bass clarinets, bassoons, oboes, and more. Come in 3 different sizes: short, long, and medium. You can get it in 4 different colors. You can get it in red, green, black, or blue, and they were $12.95, free shipping on orders over $25. Which this order was obviously over $25, so I got free shipping. It's a lot better than this other neck strap I have. This other neck strap I have, you can see, has this little clip thingy on it, and it's just a solid strap. And it bunches up and pinches your neck, and it doesn't feel too good. It really cuts into your neck. I have bruises on my neck from it. Uh, this one eliminates that one. Eliminates that. You can see how thick it is, and it's padded. It's like memory foam almost. It's really comfortable. And like I said, I only paid $12.95 for it, so it come out pretty good. I'd rate that 5 out of 5 stars because it doesn't put the it spreads out the pressure around the entire area of the neck. Now, if you have neck or back problems, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to use a neck strap. Probably be better to use a harness. And these harnesses can go upwards of $40, $50. I've seen some go for $100. And what they do is they put the weight on the shoulders and the chest area right here. It goes all the way down. Move my pot filter. It goes all the way down and rest right here. So, there's that. The next thing I got was this. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not. Vegas Movie Studio Platinum. I paid... Now, it's an older version of Vegas Movie Studio, so I paid a little less than it. They normally run about $79 from what I was told and what I've seen online. If you order it directly from them, it's $79. I got it on Amazon for $25. And I've already edited a video, come out with a video with it, just a test video, and edit it, see how it come out. And this video is going to be edited with it as well. And I give it 5 out of 5 stars because of how user-friendly it is and all the amount of things you can do with it. It looks really good, and it's very user-friendly, like I said, and it was a very good price. So 5 out of 5 stars for that. Now, the biggest thing I got, and the most expensive thing I got, was this microphone. Now, this microphone comes with a windscreen for the mic, one of those little foam windscreens. It comes with a pop filter, POP filter, pop filter, and it eliminates, what this does is this eliminates the P's and the T's, the hard sound of the P's, so it eliminates the annoyingness of that sound. So does the windscreen. Come with a shock mount, which is heavy metal shock mount, and come with a little adapter so you can screw on other kinds of so you can screw on other things if you need to. Come with an XLR to 3.5 millimeter cable, so you can plug it directly into phantom power or directly into your laptop or desktop computer. It also comes with a boom arm. Similar to the arm this lamp comes with, it's a L-shaped arm. You can adjust it up, down, rotate it, whatever you need to do. And also come with a C-clamp, but the C-clamp broke immediately after I tried to screw it onto the desk, so I had to get rid of it. Actually, the little clamp part of it broke, so I used the C, drilled a hole, and had to drill it directly into my desk, but it's a plastic desk, so it's not that big of a deal. So, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I said, I rate this probably 4 out of 5 stars because of it breaking. And it also comes with a microphone, obviously. The microphone's a condenser microphone. It should be hooked to phantom power, but it's not. That just wasn't in the budget to get phantom power in a sound card, so this audio probably sounds like junk right now, but it sounds a whole lot better than it did just coming straight from the laptop. So there's that, and I also got to get a better webcam, uh, something that records higher quality video and will adjust faster. This laptop, as you can see, if I move back, it gets brighter. If I move closer, it gets darker. I need something that adjusts a little bit faster. Um, for this microphone, I only paid. Let's see what I paid. $31.99, and it comes with all of this. So if you're looking for a great microphone to do podcasts and stuff with, I would highly recommend getting this. Um, well worth the time and well worth the money. So, like I said, $31.99, I believe, is what I said. So it's well worth the money if you're starting out. Now, let's get into the podcast. So this podcast is going to be over my story, and my story in particular. It's posted on the Aaron Singh homepage. So it's posted on the page, and you can read it, but it doesn't go into detail about all the things I've done and everything. So let's start off with that. Um, so my personal story begins in middle school. First time I ever picked up a saxophone, it was like the first week of school, of sixth grade, and we were passing around different instruments, see what we wanted to play. We had instrument demonstrations. When I was in fifth grade, Miss Carroll, who was the band director at the time, come in and did an instrument demonstration on trumpet and percussion and a whole bunch of other instruments. And she saxophone caught my eye. Now, when we started passing around instruments to decide what we wanted to play, saxophone really caught my eye. It was shiny. It had a lot of keys to it. It looked complicated. It looked full. By full, I mean, it didn't look plain. It looked complicated. So, of course, I chose saxophone. It turned out to be a really easy instrument. I knew from the moment that I'm reading directly from my story because it gives me kind of a bulletin of, you know, where things are at. I knew from the moment I held it that it'd be what I would play for years to come. And so far, I've played about 15 years. It'll be 16 years this August. So, throughout the years, I've accomplished many things from making clinic band. In sixth grade, we had this thing called Clinic Honor Band, and it's where pretty much sixth or seventh graders could come and participate. It was like district and all state, but it was only for our school district. So Walker County in general, only Walker County schools could participate. So you go in, you play your B flat scale, and you play a prepared piece, and then they sit you that day. They decide to sit you that day and place you in first chair, second chair, etc. Well, that day I got second chair, and I only missed first chair by 1 point. I actually tied with the first chair player, but they had to get really critical on my work, and I missed it by 1 point. So the thing that really got me was tone quality. I was blasting, and wasn't necessarily playing my best. Um, so we move on to seventh grade year. At Clinic Honor Band in sixth grade, they were passing out these pamphlets for Berry College, and I attended. It was a music camp for Berry College, so I decided that I really wanted to go, and I begged my parents, and they come up with the money somehow. It was like $380 or 800 and something dollars, some $830, something with a 3, an 8, and a 0. Can't remember what, but it cost a lot of money, and it was a week-long camp, and it had room and board, paid for food, paid for travel, paid for everything, the lessons and everything. So summer rolls around, and they enroll me in this camp, and so I start playing in this camp. We work every afternoon on our pieces. We had a week to prepare them. They're pretty simple pieces, but they sounded really good. We took a tour of the campus. Berry College is the largest college campus in the world, so we got a tour of all of it. Uh, all we went to the Martha Berry House. We ate at Fuddruckers. We had movie night. Each day we got to eat at the cafeteria for free, and they had good food. We also got to swim in their Olympic-sized swimming pool, uh, play games in the game room, our choice of what we want to do, and we were paired up with a roommate, and based on our, instrument and stuff. And of course, I got uh, a saxophone player in my room, so we connected quite epically. I got third chair out of everybody that come, so they did have auditions. So first day you come in, you audition your piece. You get to choose what you play. So you don't have to play any scales. You just get to come up with a piece and you know play it. So I come up with mine and I got third chair. It was a really good experience for me. Taught me a lot musically. Um, they had individualized workshops there while you were there. So if you wanted to work with somebody more privately, you could. So moving on to seventh grade year, I tried out for district. I made district. Um, I've done things from making district to all state to playing with the United States Army Field Band. I've marched in the New York City Veterans Day parade and played on a cruise ship, Royal Caribbean cruise ship. The cruise ship was pretty fun. It happened my sophomore year in high school. So skipping to sophomore year, we went on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, and we got to perform on the ship. We got to go to the Bahamas, Nassau, and all that. So we got to go to the straw market, I believe is what they called it, where you could buy fake Rolexes and stuff like that. So it was really cool. It was a competition, so there were other bands on board. This cruise ship was booked specifically for bands and choirs. So we competed and we obviously got first place. We played a piece called Tempered Steel, that is a grade 5, and those of you who don't know about how music is graded, 5 is the hardest. Um, and the person judging was actually the band director for University of Georgia, and he said that he even had trouble getting his band to play that, and we nailed it. So our high school band was very advanced. Now we had a good time on the cruise ship. Some kid actually got a daiquiri on board and wasn't supposed to. It was pretty funny. Uh, I guess the international water rules don't apply. So some of us snuck away and went to a bar. There was a sax player on the street. We got to jam out with him. Some of the other sax players got to jam out with him. It was a pretty fun experience. Now the New York City Veterans Day parade was a whole different ball game. So it was a week long trip, and we stayed in New Jersey. So it was like oh god, a 16-hour drive down there on a charter bus. It was ridiculous. And the bus ride was excruciating because there were hardly ever any stops. There was only one bathroom on the bus, and if someone went number two in the bus, the entire bus smelled it. We had a chaperone that would not let us watch any fun movies. We had to keep it PG. So we were in the middle of watching Hercules, and she woke up and she was like, not today. So she shut the movie off, which was kind of a bummer. Uh, and it was cramped. If you had a leg cramp, you couldn't just stand up and get rid of it. You had to ask the person to move, get up in the aisle and stretch, and then even then you'd get fussed at for it. So then we arrive in New Jersey. We arrive at our hotel. Finally, 16, 17 hours later. It was a ridiculous drive. We finally get there, and it's a really nice hotel. Really, really nice hotel. They put us with our roommates and everything, and we go from there. Next day we wake up. We actually went on a ferry to what is it? Ellis Island. We went to Ellis Island, I believe that's what it's called. It's the island where the immigration station was. We went on a tour there. Then we went to Liberty Island, which is where the Statue of Liberty is. Um, I got some neat pictures from that. I'm not going to post them on this podcast. It'll make this podcast way too long. So that day, we went on a ferry. We took the Staten Island ferry. Um, we got to tour New York. The crappy part is we had a chaperone that literally only wanted to do what she wanted to do. Same chaperone that ruined it for everybody on the bus trip. So she only wanted to do what she wanted to do. So we really didn't get to go anywhere we wanted. We went where she wanted to. Some of us got lost. Some of us actually got robbed, which was a funny story. And my dad saved the day. Uh, this guy was selling CDs, and a kid offered to buy one. They were $5 a piece. Gave him a 20, and the dude took off running. Well, Dad chased him down and got him, and was like, "I'm going to beat the living shit out of you if you don't." Pardon my language. If you don't give the money back. So we gave the money. We gave the CD back. He got the money back, and this dude was scared out of his mind. It was absolutely fantastic. So day 3 comes, and it's what's called the Band of Pride Day. Now we all gathered out in Times Square, and with our instruments, and every band that got to play, high school band, middle school band, whatever, gathered out in the Times Square, and we played tunes that were already given to us. We played pieces that were given to us to play. And the cool thing was, there was like 8 or 9 bands, and they were huge. They were all big bands. They were 200 plus kids each, like ours. There ended up being like well over 1,000 of us in Times Square with our horns, and we were playing with the United States Marine Corps Quantico Band, which made it just that much more epic. And we played music. We got back on the bus. We were on Good Morning America. It's this awesome thing. Now, next day, we were leaving to go march in the parade. And Neil Diamond actually was staying at our hotel, which was hilarious because everybody had a minor freak out that Neil Diamond was staying at our hotel, and it was like a 5-star hotel. It was ridiculously expensive. So we're getting on the bus. We see Neil Diamond. We go to our spot. We get dressed. We get our uniforms on and everything, and we're headed to march in the parade. Now, when I was marching in the parade, we had to wait for like an hour before it was our time to march because this is a huge parade. So we're standing around, we're goofing off, we're talking, we're warming up, we're playing, whatever. And my neck breaks, my neck on my saxophone. And let me get my saxophone down. I'll show you the part that broke, not breaks, broke. This little piece right here actually come unsoldered from the saxophone itself, and I ended up having to hold my saxophone with one hand and hold my neck with the other and play like that the entire trip down. It was pretty ridiculous, and it was like a 5 mile hike. It was a 5 mile march. Uh, so we got to walk the red carpet and everything. I didn't really play anything for this entire parade because I was too busy holding my neck. It was pretty funny. Um, Now, with the Army Field Band, actually, I was a music teacher for Fort Leonard Wood CDC, which is Child Development Center, and I got invited to come and play with the Army Field Band, which is great. I got there an hour early, started warming up, and as people started showing up, they kept looking at me like, "Is this the guy that's supposed to play with us today?" And it just turned out to be an amazing experience. We played some famous pieces like Liberty Fanfare and the Washington Post March. Uh, it turned out really great, like I said. Not really much to talk about there. It was just a sit down with the band director, who was Warrant Officer Becker. Sat down with him, talked a little bit, and then we started playing. That's pretty much it. Now I sit as a former music instructor on Fort Leonard Wood, making videos to help the music community better themselves. Now an accomplished instructor, I can play several different instruments, and I'm learning more. I can play trombone to an extent. I can play clarinet pretty well. Obviously, I play saxophone. I play drums, drum set, not actual percussion, and I'm learning piano. I also do vocals. I sing in the church choir. I do all that good stuff. Um, I hold diplomas in music education, advanced instrumental instruction, and music theory. I got them online. I did some online courses through this program called Allison, which gives you diplomas in certain fields. Um, I made All State my senior year in high school. Fast or rewind to senior year in high school, I made All State band, and it was pretty good. I made first year tenor, so I was really excited about that. Um, that is pretty much my story. Uh, I threw in some extra details there. Um, I was the assistant band director at Richland Elementary here in town. Uh, I did work for them. I was a volunteer, so I didn't get paid. I was just strictly a volunteer. Um, I got to work with the kids some on the after school band program, and it was great. It really made it worthwhile. Um, made my time really made my time worthwhile. Uh, they treated me like a king, so the kids were always hyper and everything. So we uh, we held our concert, and I got to direct a song for our last concert. The first concert I didn't get to direct for. The second concert I did. First, the Christmas concert was just a small concert. We had more people show up to that than we did our spring concert. Our spring concert went great. It was better than expected. So it turned out really well, and we were really excited about it. And unfortunately, Miss Reed, who was the band director there, will not be returning, and neither will I. Um, she found a better job with less drama and better pay somewhere else, and I don't want to deal with the drama. My mom was a para at the elementary school, and she had to go through a lot of drama. So I really don't feel like dealing with that because I'm catching the afterwake of the drama she dealt with. It came back on me. People asking me questions about what happened with so and so, why it happened. So I caught a lot of the afterwake on the drama. Of course, in this little town, you know everybody and everybody knows you and your personal business. So it's just not really ideal to work in a town that you live in and everybody knows you and everything. Uh, so yeah, so I won't be coming back next year, unfortunately, and a lot of other teachers feel the same way, and that's why a lot of teachers at the school left. Now, let's finish up this podcast with a a question and answer, I guess you can say. One of the comments I gotten on one of my posts was, "How do you set up gigs, and how do you get recognized and build your repertoire and your name?" Well, that's easy. Um, Start off, if you go to church, start playing in your church. The church, if they say no to you playing, it's probably not the church for you, because everybody worships, in their own way. No matter what kind of church you go to, no matter what religion you are, everybody worships in their own way. Now, of course, there are standardized ways of worshiping that some religions require. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. Uh, oh, what's the name of Islam? Islam requires you to do morning and afternoon prayer, I believe. I was a former chaplain at the fire department, so I kind of get the gist of how different things work. But they have prayer rugs, and they bow and they pray. Of course, that's one way you're required to worship, but everybody worships their own God in their own way. So I'd say start off playing in churches. That's what I did. I started off playing in churches, and it worked out really well for me. It threw my name around. A couple of churches called me not too long ago and asked me to perform at the end of this month. So we're going to do that. Um, Go to local coffee shops and local bars and ask if you can do free entertainment. Now, tell them your first time's free, whatever. Uh, it's just kind of like a trial run. Pay for your music, pay for your own music. Work it up solo. Find somebody who can edit the backtrack and make you look good. Post a job on Facebook for that kind of stuff. There's always somebody out in your area that's willing to do it. So that's how I would get started. I would definitely start playing in churches or playing in local coffee shops or bars for free. Then start charging as your name and your repertoire grows bigger. Um, you know, it's just constantly moving forward. You just got to constantly move forward. The biggest thing about throwing your name out is networking. You meet people. The more you network, the more you're going to meet people, and the more your name's going to get thrown around. So definitely start off by playing in little joints. Don't try to start and don't unless you're Jesus of saxophone or Jesus of whatever instrument you play. I wouldn't recommend starting out like doing America's Got Talent. Now that's something we all dream of, but it's not for everybody. Everybody's not the best. So start off playing in local coffee shops, local bars, throw your name around, and maybe you'll network and you'll meet somebody that can strike you a record deal. That's how I got started. So that's the way I would recommend you do it. Is start small, work your way up big. The next question, let me find it, is well, I can't find it. It's a question I've already answered. We're gonna go and I guess we're gonna reiterate on some of the questions I asked last time. Um, so it's when do I expose myself to different instruments, and when did I start playing? The question itself is when did I start learning all four saxophones? Now, of course, there are nine types of saxophones, nine keys of saxophones. Um, but the four main ones are alto, tenor, bari, and soprano. When did I start focusing on tenor or soprano or bari? Well, I really didn't start until high school. So, uh, I started playing bari. Um, I started playing bari my eighth grade year. I did it in jazz band. That was about it. Um, I kind of soloed between or opted between bari and drum set on some songs. So some songs I'd play drum set, some songs I'd play bari. Um, I really didn't start throwing myself out to other instruments until seventh or eighth grade. Really, seventh grade is when I started learning how to play drum set. I figured it out on my own. It was super easy. Um, some some people may not be able to figure it out as easy as I did. Get all your body parts to move in different ways. But yeah. So I started exposing myself to other instruments around seventh and eighth grade. I threw myself into bari sax, which was a whole different beast. Different embouchure, wider finger. You have to spread your fingers out wider for the keys. It feels like it was just a whole different beast. Uh, I didn't start playing tenor until oh lord, sophomore year. I didn't start playing tenor until sophomore year. Um, so and I didn't start playing soprano until freshman year. So it really just depends on who you are as a person and when you really want to expose yourself to different instruments and start learning different instruments. I mean, you can't learn them all at the same time. It's just way too much to remember. So I would definitely try and at least come close to mastering one before, or at least be able to play your full chromatic on one before you can, move to another. I would definitely do that. Um, so we're going to go through and do a Q&A now. I'm going to delete the other Q&A video. So this video is a little bit longer. So we answered, when should you expose yourself to other saxophones? And I got these written down on these little note cards. We're going to reiterate on our last Q&A. I changed my mind in the middle of the video. I'm not going to delete it, but we're going to reiterate on some of these things because I thought of some good points after I shot the video, and that I really want to reiterate on. When should you expose yourself to other instruments? Focus on your goals. Do what you think is best. Don't switch unless you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable ready to switch, don't do it. Each sax or each instrument is a different beast. It requires a different embouchure, like from alto clarinet to bass clarinet. It's going to be a different embouchure. Everything is different. Do what feels right. When's the right time to upgrade a mouthpiece? Well, when you're not getting what you want out of the mouthpiece. Really. It depends on what you're trying to do and achieve sound-wise. If you have a mouthpiece that gets a good seal with your reed and you feel comfortable on it, there's no rush to get a new one. You're better off working with what you have than breaking the bank on a new one. There's no amount of money that will improve your sound, only the time and effort you put in to change it. Now, at the same time, there is no point in wasting money if you're getting what you need out of it. So really, if you're not getting what you want out of the mouthpiece, other than sound, if it's just not working for you, it's taking too much air, you're coming up with a raspy sound, then I probably wouldn't stick with it. I'd go ahead and get a new mouthpiece. We're going to focus on this question for a little bit. Could I be buying a Chinese knockoff saxophone? And are they of good quality or not? This is a big question I get. I get a lot of people commenting that you could possibly be buying a cheap Chinese saxophone. I found this website called DHgate and AliExpress, and they both sell saxophones, supposedly name brand saxophones for dirt cheap. And like a Yanagisawa AW50, I believe, or AS50, they sell these horns for dirt cheap, and I'm talking like $300-$400 when these are $6,000 professional horns. Now that should be your first red flag, is the price. The price generally will tell you if it's real or not. There's no way to look up a serial number because it doesn't give you a serial number when you buy it. Now, generally, if you buy from eBay or you buy from Reverb or a music shop, there's a serial number, and there's websites you can actually go and check the serial number of these saxophones to make sure that they're real. I would highly recommend you do that. Are they of good quality? Probably not. I watched this one video from this guy his name's Jay Metcalf, and he runs a channel called Better Sax. And what he said is exactly in his words. If they can't come up with a name of their own, it's probably not worth buying. Yes, they're modeled after and they're replicas. They're really just meant to hang on your wall. But it doesn't come with a good quality case. It comes with a cheap styrofoam case. Something it's cloth with styrofoam, and the saxophone moves around in it a lot. It's shipping from China. It's probably going to get broke. You get really lucky if it didn't come broke. I've bought cheap Chinese saxophones before, and I've got really lucky. So, yeah, probably not the best of quality. The cases aren't good. It's probably going to come broken. So, are they worth buying? Well, if you're looking for a cheap beginner student horn, then I would say yes, it's worth buying. Just keep in mind that if you're buying a name brand horn, always buy from a reputable dealer, and if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And also keep in mind that you know, they don't make parts for these cheap Chinese saxophones. So if you were to take it and a bar was to break, a rod, a spring was to break off, you better hope that something they have fits. Otherwise, you're just SOL. They don't make parts for these cheap Chinese saxophones because they're disposable. That's what they're meant to be. They're meant to be disposable, so you'll keep coming and buying more. Now, I bought a cheap Chinese saxophone. I had one, and it worked out pretty well. Uh, Once you got into the lower register, it started having a hard time playing notes, but other than that, everything worked on it. Now, although you do risk it being broken upon arrival, if you're looking for a good deal on a cheap student horn, I would say yes, it's worth buying. Always upgrade the case with it so it doesn't move around during travel and break the horn, and you won't be able to always take it to a repair technician to get it fixed. Now, the next question that I'd like to reiterate on is there a tip for getting rid of spitty sound? And there's not really. It's not spit, it's condensation, first off, and some mouthpieces are better at it than others. Just simply suck out the spit. Keep the mouthpiece clean and swabbed out. When you wash your mouthpiece, always wash it in cold water, soapy water. If you wash it in hot water, it's more likely to discolor the mouthpiece and turn green, depending on what kind of mouthpiece you have. I really don't have to worry about mine turning green, it's already blue. So I can wash that in whatever the heck I want. But I still do it in cold water just in case. It's better for the mouthpiece. Um, there's really not a tip for getting rid of spitty sound. There's really not. It really just depends on what mouthpiece you're using, and it does depend on what kind of air you're blowing through. If you're blowing through fast, cold air, like for example, take your finger, hold it up like this, and blow fast. You get cold air. Now blow slowly. You get a lot warmer air. So it depends on what kind of air you're blowing through. If you're trying to play soft, you're trying to play piano, and you're blowing uh, slow, fast air, you're probably going to build up a lot of condensation. If you play just a little bit louder and blow through cold, fast air, you're probably not going to get a spitty sound. It's caused when the warm air of your breath uh, makes contact with the cold body of the saxophone. So I suggest you warm your horn up before you play. Warm it up, and you won't get that spitty sound. Or you, at least in theory, you should. Next question is, how often should you make a checkup on your instrument? And I'll tell you a little bit of story about me and my experience. At least every 6 months or with the change of the seasons, because the change of the seasons, it gets warmer, it gets colder. It really does affect on how your instrument plays. If not every 6 months, don't wait until something goes horribly wrong to bring it in, because I've done that before, and it just completely destroys the saxophone. I've waited until something went wrong to bring it in, and literally they fixed it, and the next day it broke again. So, and it did that 3 different times. So it's not the repair technician; it's your fault for not taking care of your horn. The most important thing is to always be swabbing out and cleaning your instrument. You know, the neck, the bell, the mouthpiece. Always take care of your stuff. Um, there should be a video. I don't know if I posted it or not, but on how to clean your saxophone, how to take care of it. It should be on my page, so if you see it, be sure to check it out. I'm going to get a new saxophone cleaning kit, and I'll do another remake on the video, so that way you can kind of see what goes on, how to do it properly. I'll buy a clarinet cleaning kit, which should be the same as a saxophone cleaning kit. Shouldn't really be too much difference. And I'll show you how to do that on the clarinet as well. Now, we're at 45 minutes right now on the video, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the video so I can edit it. It's going to take a while to edit. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my story and some reiterations on the Q&A. So, if you guys have any questions, comment down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and like the channel, like the video. Turn your bell notifications on. There's a little bell icon. Turn your notifications on so you get notified every time I upload a video, which is pretty often. If you're watching on Facebook, which is where the majority of my viewers are, smash the like button. Comment down below what questions you have. If something didn't get answered right. If you'd like to hear more podcasts, more videos and everything, comment down below. Tell us what we can do better, because us as a team, there are several people working for me now. Be sure to tell us what we could do better. I hope you enjoyed this photo shoot coming up. Yeah, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the photo shoot.